I'm Lisa Abbott, and I'm a digital learning specialist here in the Fort Worth ISD. And today I'm going to be talking to you about communicating effectively online. We have been thrust into this online learning environment due to the global pandemic, but even when we go back to face-to-face classrooms, an online learning classroom can be an important addition to your face-to-face classes. It can give students access to learning anytime, anywhere, and expand your classroom. And it can be a critical component, especially for students who have to miss your class often. So think about adding that when we get back even to the normal face-to-face classes. So today in this video, we will review strategies and tips you can use to make sure you're communicating effectively with your students in the online learning environment. The first thing that we need to realize is communicating online is very different than communicating face-to-face. So studies have shown that 93% of all of our communication comes from nonverbal. So that means it comes from body language, tone, volume. Only 7% comes from the actual words. So you need to think about this when you're communicating in your online classroom. So we need to develop a communication plan. And so we need to think about answering the questions below. So what methods of communication will you use? How often will you communicate? How will students communicate with you? What methods will you use for different types of communication? And what methods work best for each student? These are all questions we need to answer when we develop our communication plan. So the different types of communication you will be using in your classroom are communication for general class announcements, for teaching a concept, to give student feedback about work, for tutoring, for answering questions, and for wellness checks on the students. The different methods of communication you can use are email, announcements and messages, video conferencing, online chat, and phone calls. And I have listed in parentheses some district tools that we have to achieve these methods. We have Blackboard and Outlook for email. And for announcements and messages, we have Edgenuity, It's Learning, and Google Classroom. For 6th grade through 12th grade, the actual content and lessons will be delivered through Edgenuity, but you can still supplement those lessons with your own Google Classroom or It's Learning classroom, and you can still communicate with your students on those platforms as well. And for video conferencing, we are recommending Google Meet. It is much safer than other video conferencing tools that are out there, and it is actually inside of our Fort Worth ISD domain, so only Fort Worth ISD students can get into it and access those meetings, so it's much safer. We also need to think about building a sense of community when we're developing our communication plan with students. It's important to communicate with students on a consistent and timely basis so students don't feel isolated or lost. Remember, they're not seeing your face every day like they used to or hearing your voice. So the communication on a consistent and timely basis is important. And you're going to need to identify and use the best method of communication that works with each student. It's important to keep virtual office hours, have specific days and times that you will be available to answer questions or meet up for a video chat, and make sure students know your schedule and know where to access it. And so this is just an example one for Monday to Friday, 9 to 11, 1 to 3. So some effective communication tips are to be clear and concise when you're communicating with text because of the nonverbal versus verbal rules. They're only getting, remember, 7%. The rest is all in body language and tone and volume that they're not going to get if it's just text. Be courteous, offer opportunities for synchronous communication, use video or audio communication often. And it's important to establish an online hub, an online classroom where the students can go and where they know to go to get information from you. So they know to go where they know to go to get assignments, or where they know to go to get announcements from you about projects and due dates. And it's important to provide timely feedback and give students opportunities to collaborate with each other. and use online surveys. So you can use these strategies and tips I've reviewed here to create your own communication plan so that you will have effective communication in your classroom. Good luck with your online teaching, and don't forget to reach out to your digital learning specialists that are assigned to your campus. They can help you with all your digital tools that you will need to use for communicating. Thank you and happy teaching online.